Some things make zero sense. Like how when you bring your umbrella, it doesn't rain, but when you don't bring one, it pours. But zero sugar and full flavor? Welch's made that make sense with new Welch's Zero Sugar. All that passion fruit, Concord grape, strawberry, or tropical punch goodness with none of the sugar. You've got to sip it to get it. New Welch's Zero Sugar is available in a variety of flavors and sizes, including the 64-ounce multi-serve bottle, which is perfect for serving and sharing with the whole family. Welch's can't make everything make sense, but a zero sugar drink that's still full of fruit flavor, they made that make sense. Try Welch's Zero Sugar today, available in stores now.
Weight loss. It needs to be fast and sustainable. Noom GLP-1 starts at just $149 and ships to your door in 7 days. Take it from Lauren, who lost 22 pounds on Noom.
If I come off of the GLP-1, it's not going to automatically make my weight yo-yo back.
$149 GLP-1s? Now that's Noom smart. Get started at Noom.com. Real Noom user compensated to provide their story. Individual results may vary. Not all customers will medically qualify for prescription medications. Compounded medications are not reviewed by the FDA for safety, efficacy, or quality.
Let's chat. It's hard. You want to talk? I know, that's disappointing. Sit back. Let's work this out. How's it going? What are we doing here? Where are you going? Hey there. Wow. It's not always easy. It's amazing if you think about it. Let's think about this. Strange. I have some thoughts about that. Life is hard. Trauma bonded.
Who's talking to you about their big errand run to Costco?
Hillary. What's up, Hillary?
Hey, Hillary. I love Costco too. Oh my God. Last time I saw Hillary, we talked about Costco.
I just went there today and got eggs.
How much were eggs, Elly?
I'm practically a billionaire. They were the normal price. That was 2 dozen for like $9. Organic.
Wait, really? Wait, for 2 dozen?
Yes. My cheese was more expensive, so I don't know what everyone's talking about with these egg prices.
Well, don't go to the Rayleighs, you know what I'm saying?
I know that your savior, God, has not reduced your egg prices, and I apologize for that. I'm just kidding. For some reason, I keep finding them at Costco normal price. I don't know why.
So weird.
I guess I have a...
It's that DEI policy.
For me?
I don't know.
But speaking of politics, I just want to say that I said some stuff last week that was really well received. Thank you all for your feedback. I just want to remind you, if you haven't already, please download.
Did we get a lot of comments, Elly? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, in the ether.
Elly 431 commented, you should change your name when you comment, not just the number. Elly 431 said, Elly, you're a genius, and I agree with everything you say. Elly 432 said, I agree 100%. Thank you for finally saying what everyone was thinking.
Okay, my
voice of the people, said Elly 433. Change the name, Elly. That was our comments episode.
Okay, fair enough. Well, my sister, who gave me the idea in the first place, texted me and said that she was proud. And I just want to remind everyone, download the app, 5 Calls. I just literally, seriously, you just call them up after hours. You don't have to talk to anybody. Read the script word for word and say thank you, bye. And it is... I believe that it will affect some change. It's on par with writing your congressperson, which is the quickest way to mobilize change.
No, I make fun of you, Elly, but thank you for saying that. I did it myself, as I think everyone should.
And a reminder to go out in pride and courage, be brave for others who cannot, wear bright colors, wave a flag, be an ally. And also think about how your dollars influence everything. Oligarchs want to burn down every natural resource that we have so they can line their pockets. And you have money that they want. Don't give it to them. Boycott where you can. I am really upset that I have to give up Target because I love Target. And if Trader Joe's ends up on a list, I don't know what I'm going to do. And this is the most privileged point of view you've heard today about the state of political affairs. So deal with that. Secondly, encourage you to listen to, there's a second bonus episode that was released this week. Whit interviews Kiva Baxter, who is the head of communications at Why Me UK, which is a restorative justice organization that helped us with the UK stories and with the series overall. So a shout out to Kiva, and again, another wonderful bonus episode to help better understand the topic. She's brilliant. She's passionate about restorative justice. Go listen, because that's the last bonus episode of the series, y'all. You just get the two. And today and right now, we're going to talk about Troy, episode 353. This is the third episode in the 5-part restorative justice series. T, just curious, what do you think about the series?
You know, I am enjoying it. It's really opening my mind quite a bit. It's a whole new perspective I never would have actually thought about at all.
Especially because you're kind of an eye for an eye kind of bitch.
I think one of my words, I don't recall now which episode it was, but I think one of my words was unforgiven.
Mm.
And I stood by that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm starting to, I don't know. One of my words was going to be grace.
Mm.
But then I changed it.
Welcome to Trauma Bonded. I'm Elly Westberg here with Therese Garcia.
Hello.
And today we're discussing episode 353 of the podcast. This is actually happening. What if you were the common denominator? A brief. After committing acts of extreme violence as a teenager, a man is unable to shed his rage and find healing until he's able to face the roots of the harm he has caused. This is the third episode in a 5-part series, A World Beyond Revenge, featuring 5 powerful stories of people on both sides of tragic incidents of unimaginable harm. Therese, it's got unimaginable harm. Who found healing through the groundbreaking process of restorative justice. I am the word for this is actually happening, and T doesn't work on the show, but she's still a wonderful person, and she comes in fresh. And this show, Trauma/Bonded, is for the listeners, a space where we can talk about each episode, digest it, and reflect on it with empathy and also a bit of levity. That's Trauma Bonded. What stuck out to you is the heart of Troy's story.
Thank you, Elly. I went with one word for the heart of the story today, and that word is within. He does end the episode with that word within. I found it so powerful. I feel like I'm foreshadowing because you keep nodding. Elly's nodding very violently. Yeah, so he ends it with, at its core, we all search for that peace, but that peace, it's an inside job. It begins within. And I think within, the word within speaks, to the work he did to finally realize, someone was missing from that list that he was putting together. Someone within, right? Not someone external. And he was really looking within himself to identify that anger. His anger was really from fear, and it was within. And that word within, it really speaks to, being accountable.
It's a preposition.
Oh, we're getting into that. I didn't know we were going to get into that.
And within it.
Oh, there's a with. There's 2 words, with and in. There's also thin. Were you going to say that? There's thin in there?
How dare you?
Oh, gosh. That was insensitive. But looking within, right? Talks about accountability. Talks about having empathy for others. And that connection with others as well. So that's why I chose within as the heart. So it sounds like maybe yours was similar.
Yeah, I what really stuck out to me, I mean, tons of it stuck out to me, but at the end when he said peace is an inside job, that's exactly what you said. It's akin to the call is coming from inside
I
the
know.
house.
I was thinking that same thing too. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's along these lines of only you can love you. You're the person you're going to be with the most time. Take care of
Mhm.
yourself. It really comes back to self-love. These are sort of things that get said and no one really knows what it means. But for some reason, when he said peace is an inside job, that really
Mhm.
stuck out to me. It kind of revealed that those ideas to me in a deeper way. You complete chaos could be existing all around you, but you can still be peaceful within yourself. It's not easy. It's probably a lifetime of learning how to not react to things that are dramatic, but we don't have to totally flip. We don't have to totally be freaking out inside when something is presented to us that maybe we weren't prepared for or we don't think we can handle. We can. It's about taking a deep breath, looking deep inside yourself, and meditating on something and being able to be honest with yourself. Proceed. I mean, that's the whole thing, right? They say like you can't change what's happening around you or to you, but you can only control how you react to it. So even when things are really dramatic or scary or high stakes, why can't we still have peace inside?
Mhm.
Can we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they also say you can't love others until you love yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a thing that gets said, and I feel like a lot of us walk away from hearing things like that, and we're like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, totally, yeah.
but then it's like,
Then
how do you do that?
yeah. But he describes them really well that it makes perfect sense.
Well, talk about that.
Well, I mean, I was gonna but he breaks things down really well in, like, a logical way.
Yeah.
I mean, even just, like, how one communicates to another person. He, like, broke it down, right?
Yeah, I did.
Like, a lot. So it's like, I might say I can't even do it because he did, but it's like, "Oh, I'm gonna say something." I can't do it.
Well, but we can talk about some of the things that he threw out there, like, this whole idea that he didn't even know what empathy was until
Yeah.
someone was able to show it to him. But he talks about how communication is so important. The most important part of communication is the listening.
Mhm. I know when it's done wrong. I can tell you that. You know when someone you're saying something and you know someone's not listening or they don't get it? Like right now, like, looking at me? It's like just kidding. She's looking at her notes. But, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can tell when it's not getting through, right? You're in an argument or something with someone, and you're like, They need to understand where I'm coming from," And it's just, like, not it's a hitting a brick wall, you know? And it's because they're thinking about whatever they're thinking about and then what they're gonna say, you know?
Which is what he was saying. He
Yeah.
just wanted to get his point across.
Yeah.
He wasn't interested. So this is what I talk about when I say, people ask me why I'm with Scott. And
What are you talking about? Who says that?
not in a derogatory way, but
Hey, why are you with Scott? Just not in a derogatory way, just like, "Hey, curious."
what do you see in Scott?
Like, just wondering, making convos like that.
What I say is to my very supportive friends who ask me questions like that, I feel like we fight well because it feels like we're fighting toward a solution rather than both of us just trying to get our point across, both of us just wanting to be heard, both of us trying to win something. It's more about really trying to understand where that person is coming from and feeling like they're also trying to understand where you're coming from so that we can come to a resolution and a compromise and a point of moving forward and understanding each other better. I've definitely fought with people that just want to fight. They just want to they're not listening to you, they're just waiting to speak. We've all talked to those people.
Mhm.
People that go low, hit you below the belt while you're fat anyway. Wait, what? What is that?
What are you what are you even talking a
What's that to do with my driving right now?
now.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Just And we've all fought with people like that. So, sorry, I didn't mean to trigger you, T.
Okay, Mom. What's that have anything to do with it?
Yeah.
Mom.
Mom. T's mom. Yeah, peace is an inside job. I love that.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to say.
Let's talk about Troy's family. Um, Dude, that was crazy. What stuck out to me is when he said his grandma was basically there for the Emancipation Proclamation. And wow, what a source of wisdom and personal experience to relay that very serious and intense history. They were upper middle class. They had horses, for God's sake. They had a boat. He went to Catholic school. I mean, talk about a family that was kind of doing everything they were taught to do, focusing on education, thinking about being upwardly mobile, owning property, being hardworking, sending your kids to private school. This is really the personification of an upwardly mobile Black family in America in the 80s. It was meant to be, success for everyone in their family. They were doing everything they thought that they were supposed to be doing.
Would have been if they were a white family.
And they probably would have been successful if
Yeah.
they had been a white family. But what they didn't count on, they knew what was there. I mean, first you're dealing with just general racism. Everyone knows America is an extremely racist country. Was then, is now. So you're not only facing the racism from white people, but you're also facing gangs.
Mm-hmm.
You're also facing a drug epidemic. A lot of people feel like drugs were deliberately pumped into Black communities to bring down their upward mobility. I don't know how proven that is, but I've heard that before. It's called the plan. So they're facing gangs, they're facing drugs, and they're facing police who are not their friend. They are their enemy. So there's a lot of, just by virtue of being a Black family, there's a lot against them, even though they're doing everything that they're supposed to be doing, right?
How are you supposed to win?
Yeah.
How are you supposed to succeed?
It's as
You're
if
doing everything right.
there are systems against you from the beginning because of your color that will try to impede you from winning. It's as if there's so many roadblocks. It seems almost impossible for a regular family to get ahead. It's dire.
Yeah.
We had a similar situation that we had with Daniel a couple episodes again. Troy says to his parents, "I don't feel loved." And all he wants is for them to say, "I love you, honey." But instead they heard, "I'm being ungrateful."
Yeah.
And that, yeah, they just heard it as a whine. Again, I think this is like a kind of a time in history.
Mm-hmm.
But I did write the note. Why can't we pay attention to our kids? Because we're being told that in the American dream, you work the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. And if you're not working all your jobs, or you're not away from the house, working, you're doing something wrong. And sometimes then you don't have the time or the attention or the space to be able to raise these kids you're also told to have.
Mm-hmm.
Need to have your nuclear family. I mean, jeez.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Should only independently wealthy people have children?
Yes. No. Cut. You can cut this. You know what this reminded me of? We can cut this or not. I don't know. But do you know what this reminded me of? That nobody loves me. We went on a hike the other day, and I don't know what happened.
Well, Evie she kind of threw a fit when the hike started. And Arlo was trying to talk to you, and you were kind of...
I was focused on Evie, and I was like, ugh, like everyone was leaving, moving ahead, and Evie was just so slow. So I was going to stay with Evie. And Arlo was kind of like wanting to stay with me and Evie, but I was like, just go. I'll deal with Evie. I was like, go with them. Just go with them. But Arlo wanted to stay with us. And I should have just let him stay with us. But I was like kind of frustrated. So I was like, go with them, kind of impatiently. But I was impatient with Evie, not with Arlo. But what happened was way down the line, Arlo freaked out with the rest of the group.
Well, he freaked out right away.
Oh, really? Okay. But he was like, "Nobody wants me."
He just kept, like, marching ahead, and we didn't realize how serious it was at first, and he just kept being ahead, and then Gwen ran ahead to sort of talk him out of it, and he was so mad at her, like, she couldn't get through to him. We get to a spot on the hike where there's, like, kind of a fork in the road, and we all were going left to head back to the cars, but he took a right, which doubled the length of the hike. So I took off after him because T's way behind with Evie, and I'd be like 100 feet behind him, be like, Arlo, stop, slow down, wait. And he just kept going. He kept repeating,
Nobody wants me.
nobody wants me, nobody wants me, nobody wants me. And I kept going, you're crazy. We all want you. We all love you. Like, what are you talking about? And finally, when I finally cornered him like on a pier, kind of kept him from going. He really truly felt rejected and that he didn't matter and that his being there was inconsequential. And it was deep and it was really sad. And we were only able to talk him back into like being his present lovely self by FaceTiming with T and Evie. It was Evie that called him out of it, right?
And by the way, we didn't even know why he was being this way for a very long time. Like, I didn't know that he was that way because I had been impatient with him and that I was telling them to him to go ahead, you know? I was like, "Just go," you know?
It took quite some time to drill down
Yeah.
into why he acted the way he did and why he felt the way that he did. And I think we say all this to say is that oftentimes kids don't have the language to be able to explain why they feel rejected or why they feel on the outs. I mean, luckily he was able to even say what he said, nobody wants me. And then when we were pressing him to explain himself, he was able to finally get to it. But most kids don't have that sort of vocabulary.
And I don't even think he really explained it. First of all, and I think the point there is, like, he doesn't have the language even to explain it, and also us as adults have so much power.
Mm.
It was so fast that I was just like, "Go," you know? And I was kind of impatient, but it was also, like, quick. But then as soon as I figured out that was it, I wasn't like, "You're ungrateful." I was like, "Oh my god," and I felt the most I still feel awful thinking about it, you know?
That you made him feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did the right thing, you handled it right. Once we
We
realized
FaceTimed.
he was feeling hurt,
Yeah.
instead of just going, "Oh, get over it," which is what our parents would have done probably, and probably a bit of what Troy's talking about, like, "You have no idea what I've done for you to bring you into this world. And of course I love you and don't be melodramatic." Like, instead of, like, just dismissing it, like, you wanted to understand. Because also the thing about Arlo is, like, he's not like a needy kid, like,
No.
he's very independent, he's very self-possessed, and so to demonstrate that he was feeling rejected in that moment meant that it probably went pretty deep. It was an interesting
It was intense.
exercise in understanding where kids are at that age. Like, they have enough vocabulary to say how they're feeling, but not enough to really understand why,
And what they need,
and there's
because he all he wanted was Troy was it Troy?
yeah, Troy.
Troy just wanted his parents to be like,
I
"No,
love
I
you."
love you." That was a long story, but that's what it reminded me of,
Yeah.
right? Did you think of that too?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was intense.
So Troy's first interaction with the police is he's being accused of burglarizing cars. He's like 10 years old. He didn't even know what burglarizing was. Imagine that.
Yeah.
They put him in an effing police car, separated him,
"Oh, you're never gonna see your brothers again." It's like, "What the hell?"
separated him from his brothers, and is told he's never going to see them again. What's that going to do to a kid? What's that going to do to a black kid in America?
"Oh, the only people I could ever trust, I'll never see them again."
And now he understands why his people hate the police. His trust is gone, and now fear is there around the police, and it's already begun at 10 years old. And he saw his dad be mad, but he also saw his dad be helpless. And that just reaffirmed to him that this is not an ally for you. Police are not ally. They have all the power, and you are going to be subjugated to their whims, and they can't be trusted. I can't even begin to know what that feels like, and to accept that at such a young age. Now, at the same time, the gang activity is increasing in the area, and he gives this anecdote of, him and his brother being on the playground, and adult men are coming up to children, taking their money, or wanting them to fight. I don't know which one it was.
So weird.
Makes me so mad. And even Troy's saying he sees it in the moment. Like, why are these adult men coming up to me? Sorry, that was actually before the
Okay.
police. Sorry.
Yeah.
This is the second time he's talking about going to the store to get. He said this is a couple years later, so he's like 13. Well, this is when they ask him, "Where are you from?" He says, "From my mother, bitch." And now they're telling him that he needs to fight 6 adult men, and he is able to basically, well, no. I mean, he ends up getting his ass kicked, and but the people that saved his life in the end, was the rival gang, and now even being with them and in their company under their protection, it made him feel power for the first time. And he says that he gets jumped into the gang at 13. And he found out that his older brother was also in the gang, and I thought this was really interesting and telling. You talk about how they both agreed not to tell their younger brothers because in some way they knew it was wrong, and they knew it was a life they didn't want for their younger brothers. That makes me really sad that they had this awareness, but they felt like they had no choice. I mean, what alternative did they have?
His older brother probably did that too, though. He's probably trying to hide it from him,
Yeah.
but then couldn't anymore.
It sounds like Troy was just really trying to live a life outside of crime, and nothing would let him.
He's just trying to live his life.
Yeah.
Walk to the store. Walk around.
And there's this whole power element. He's given a gun, he's told how to use it, and there are rules that they abide by. I mean, having that kind of structure was probably helpful to him. It made him feel comforted. You know, and it's not rooted in bullshit. He's told to be courageous and be proud and be loud. And at 15, he robs a man, and the man slaps the gun, and this rage comes up, and Troy murders him. He was an impulsive teenager, and he lives on the run for a while, and eventually he's arrested. He's taken to juvie, which is also a rough, terrible place that will continue to add to a lifetime of incarceration because there's no rehabilitation there. There's no restoration there. It's pulling you deeper into a life that you don't want.
It's also the only time I think he shows some emotion in the episode.
Yeah.
Well, he's really shows a lot of regret. But then, I mean, now, he's able to show that emotion, but back then he also says that he had he didn't have any of the emotional intelligence or the emotional understanding. He just kind of tuned everything out at that point. He couldn't.
Yeah, anger and rage
Yeah.
have completely taken him over, and it's a mask for his pain.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you can't accuse his parents of not being there. They hire lawyers for him.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like those lawyers fought against him being charged as an adult if he would have been thrown to a defense attorney granted by the state. It's possible that he could have been tried as an
Yeah.
adult, and the whole thing ends right there. And he has to go to juvie till he's 21. And they call it young gladiator school because it's just fight upon fight upon fight, and he's fighting everyone, and it's just adding trauma upon trauma upon trauma. But he reads Malcolm X, and he decides he wants to be like him. He wants to be an intellectual, but he doesn't have this emotional intelligence, and he still has all this pent up rage. He's finally released at 21 in 1988, and this is the second chance. I mean, this is so fucking illuminating. I mean, it's so easy to see how people can get caught up into these systems that are not trying to help them. Again, he goes to be an apprentice with his father, and he realizes this is hard fucking work, and it's not, and good on him. Like he guess what? You're free. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. So he doesn't want to work that hard for the rest of his life, and I don't blame him. He tries to go to college. He says that people treat him differently because he's a felon. And guess what? Who rejects him?
The military.
The US fucking military.
Weird.
And that it's practically a criminal enterprise
I
itself.
thought they were cool with that. Are they not?
The US military doesn't want someone with a murder on their record. I mean, just fuck you, you know?
Seems hypocritical.
A little bit. He has this daughter in 1989, and now this is the stage where like dope is really entering the community in a serious way. And guess what? He's been rejected by school. He's been rejected by the military. He's out of jail. What is he supposed to do to make money, T? Because the easiest way to make money is to move dope. It's easier than bricklaying. And but unfortunately you can't also have that life without adding other criminal elements to your life, like having weapons and doing other shit and being around other criminals. And now his early young adult life is being pulled in and out of jail. Did you ever see the movie Colors?
No.
The movie is very black and white. You know, there are characters that are just mean and bad. The gang bangers, they just want to inflict pain on people because they're psychopaths.
Mhm.
And it's bullshit that there's not more nuanced reasoning as to why someone might be in a gang or be selling drugs. They're just bad.
Oh, yeah.
Silly. What did you think about when Troy was talking about how gang life in America sort of mirrored or was a reflection of the US military and, I don't know, military entanglements all over the world?
It was an interesting parallel. I mean, he brought in a lot of
Everyone's like,
Lot of
oh,
fun.
the US government or the US, why are people so violent? Everyone's so violent in the US. Y'all, half of our GDP goes to the military. If you look at the lists of industrialized countries and what they spend on military spending, we exceed it by like quadruple X billion compared to everyone else. And we're surprised that we have violence in this country? Come on. We have
That's true.
military bases all over the world. We're all up in everyone's ass imperialistically.
Well, this is what I was talking about, by the way. This morning in the preschool, when you're looking at your ABCs in the Catholic preschool, ABCs, animals. Look, it's the rainbows. Oh, wow. Oh, look, all the tigers and the lions. There's Jesus Christ on the cross with all the blood and the thorns. I'm like, and these are the same people who are like, oh, we need to make sure to censor all the violence on the TV and on the books and all the gays and all the things. And it's like Jesus on the cross with the blood and the naked also. And I'm just like, what are you talking about in the preschool?
Yeah, this is a show don't tell situation.
I'm just saying. You're surprised that there's so much violence when the preschoolers are looking at that.
Yeah. We love apple pie and baseball and guns and war. What?
What? And also, this guy's carrying the cross and everyone's throwing stuff. I mean, it's like really, it's so violent. And I'm 4 years old.
I would say violent.
And I feel so guilty about this guy.
Okay. Would you
You know?
say, if you had to think about a value that America holds, it's violence? It's not the
Oh,
only
yeah.
one, but it's a prominent value.
Common enemy, common enemy and making sure that they're punished.
Punished.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love punishment, revenge,
Yeah.
violence
Mm-hmm.
in this country.
And apple pie.
And apple pie.
Because with like whipped cream.
And baseball.
Yeah.
And we like dogs.
For sure. Golden retrievers.
Golden retrievers.
Not pit bulls. Kill them.
Ooh. Wide open spaces.
Oh, for sure. Horses, cowboys.
Highways.
Right?
And nuclear power.
Yeah.
No, we have a violence
Tanks.
problem.
Tanks.
Oh, Sheriff, is that what is that, a tactical vehicle you have there?
Look at that.
Pull down and
It's looking good. Looking good.
you gotta put down the protesters. You can't let them get too above their boat.
Mate. Rare. As rare as you got it.
What's for dinner?
Yeah. What are we talking about?
So Troy
Got hungry. Sorry.
is a hero to his community because he writes a song or something and kind of.
Oh, I know a story, right? Or was it? Oh, was it a song? Oh, I thought it was.
He wrote a rap or something.
Was it a rap?
Because there was a ceasefire between the Crips and the Bloods. Anyways, the city's giving him an award, and he's at this fork in the road. Like,
Crossroads, yeah.
do I go pick up my award, or do I go rob a shipment of computer parts?
Or both. I mean, he chose both.
Or why don't I do both?
But do the robbery first.
I'll just go do the robbery and then just swing by to pick up the award on the way
Real
home.
quick.
No big deal.
One then the other. I mean, just time-wise makes sense. Didn't work out.
Sounds like it was a bad idea to fit in the robbery. He calls it a brutal crime, and he's going to be on the hook for what his co-conspirators do, and that's going to come in down the road a little bit. And during this crime, his brother dies. Again, I was confused a little bit. He died in the crime.
He was murdered
He was in the commission of the crime with Troy.
I think so. They all separated.
Yeah.
And if he had run, there were different ways to go, right? There was, if you could run over the fence, there's a lot of different ways.
Yeah, we don't have to rehash those.
Okay.
But so his mother has lost one son to the street and one to the system.
Yeah.
And in that moment, he decides he's going to live a different life. And he really does.
Mm-hmm.
The charges are dropped.
Yep.
He spends 8 months selling his toys. He knows that he has to get out of this drug game. And he has to examine like what skills does he have. He's interested in cinematography. And he's hired by a church as a youth leader.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is getting his life completely turned around. And then
He's got full custody of his kid.
yeah, he's got full custody of his daughter. He's got a job. He's in school. He's helping youth. And guess what? The prosecutor has spent the last 26 months putting together some kind of case against him. So imagine this. You get your life moving in the right direction, and then 26 months later, the state throws your life into turmoil again.
That work.
Again, it demonstrates...
It's dropped and then... But yeah.
I mean, the prosecutor can do whatever they want. So it's again demonstrating that they are helpless.
Yeah.
And your whole life can be turned upside down, even though you've made a marked change, many marked changes. And because his co-conspirator, his co-defendant kidnapped, that means he's on the hook for kidnapping. This is in every state.
He didn't even know what happened.
In
He wasn't even
California,
there.
whatever your co-defendants do in the commissioning of a crime, you get that charge. Remember that. Think about who your friends are, and if you want to commit...
Elly.
You just list your one friend.
Elly.
So even though he's done everything he can to turn his life around, and I mean, he's been given custody of his child. So clearly there are government agencies saying that he's living a clean life.
Mm-hmm.
And now guess what? He's being pulled back into this whole thing, and he's going to prison for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
He was so determined that he would not get sucked back into that life. But you're in a hostile environment, segregated to hell. It's racial as hell. 9 years into his sentence, he attacks a guy. Another kid stabs the same guy. And guess what? Whatever they do with you, it comes back on you. So now he's going into solitary for 6 months.
It doesn't make sense, right?
Birds of a feather flock together.
But just because I'm standing there next to you doesn't mean I did it, right?
It's not okay. We could say all day long that that's not a just way to do it, but whether it's just or not, it's the way it is.
But we're standing next to each other because, we're in prison together.
Yeah.
Joe Schmo over here is to my right.
Well, he's stabby.
I was just standing here because I'm in the same room. We're all in the same room together.
They don't want you to get out. Do you understand?
We're all we're all in the same. We're in prison together. There's like 50 of us in the same room. What do you expect?
I don't know about that.
It's weird.
Anyways, isolation, which is, we all know, cruel punishment. Imagine the only time that you're touched is twice a week because someone's putting handcuffs on you. Think about
I'm
that.
surprised you can not go insane.
So Troy knows that he has to mentally escape. He's not going to physically escape, but he has to mentally escape. What is he going to do with this time? What is he going to do with this loneliness? He reads this book called We're All Doing Time, and there's stuff about breathing and meditation, and he starts to make his blame list. His mother, his dad, the police, his teacher. Who else is there to blame? Who could it be?
I'm missing someone.
Who could it be? And then he realizes that it's him. He's the common denominator. He has to take this time to examine his own action and reframe.
It's amazing.
It's really amazing. And who knew that San Quentin was so fucking liberated? This is the part where he talks about how someone had to empathize with him so that he could empathize for others. And he was able to meet a victim of robbery and really see how it changed the dynamics of her life. I mean, this totally changes his life around. Discovery comes in to teach them how to be filmmakers and then leaves behind the gear and he gets to be a filmmaker. And when he's released, he moves to Oakland to rebuild and he's passionate about storytelling. And he just started producing stuff. And I was just going to say, make stuff, y'all. You don't have to go to film school. You don't have to know anything about anything. I highly recommend reading a book called Rebel Without a Crew by Robert Rodriguez. He made this movie called Mariachi that he ended up selling, but he made it on no budget, no crew. If you have an idea, execute it. If you don't have any money, be creative. Figure out ways to usurp production companies, when they have a problem, they throw money at it. When a creative has a problem, they throw
Mm-hmm.
Don't feel like you have to go to film school. Don't feel like you have to go to any school. Just take your fucking phone and go make go fucking make something.
You said sorry and then you did it again.
Fuck you.
Oh.
Go make something.
Look at us. We are hugely successful. We don't know anything, and look at us. We're at nearly 100 episodes. We didn't know anything, and we haven't done, and we are amazing at what we do. Kudos to us.
Yeah, I'm saying anyone can make anything.
And that's the truth.
And that is the truth.
And that's right. And that's what we've done, isn't it?
Make friends and be creative. That's all you need. And there will be varying levels of success, but you can do it.
We are 100% successful.
Have done it.
Done it too.
It's scarier to go through this restorative justice journey than to stare down the barrel of a gun. He said that. So if you think it's a weak process, fuck you. Restorative justice is the hardest thing you'll ever do. And he just ends with, I'm a boy who wants to be loved and I'm a man who wants to be loved. I mean, this is the universal pursuit of us all, of humanity, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We're not that complicated, it turns out.
He has a way with words.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
And he's really got a remarkable life. I really encourage you, if you go into the show notes where this is actually happening, there's some links to what he's done, and he's really quite prolific in the way he's turned his life around. Thank you for listening. This has been an episode of Trauma Bonded. You can find our show or podcast or cat. Please rate and review us. Thanks to Troy for sharing their story and giving us the opportunity to talk about it. And thanks to This Is Actually Happening team, including Whit, Missildine, and Andrew Waits, and the maker of our music and website, Nathaniel Trimboli. And thanks to Cathy Sites for editing this episode, and Katy Caple for building those blasted Instagram posts. Please subscribe to us at YouTube. On YouTube, you can contact us at traumabondedpodofficial at Gmail, and find us on Instagram at traumabondedpodofficial. We are trauma bonded to the story, to the storyteller, to the listeners, and to each other. Thanks for spending time with us today. Love you, T.
Love you, Elly. Good job. Hey, thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Trauma Bonded.